Very special guests, which we will explain in just a few moments. But first, as many of you have noticed, our stadium is looking particularly impressive today. And that's thanks to some very generous donors who contributed funds that allowed us to place new turf on the field and to install this wonderful new digital scoreboard that you see here to my left. Yes. In addition, these donors allowed us to replace the scoreboards on our softball and baseball fields as well. Yes, thank you very much to those donors. I'd like to take a few moments to recognize and sincerely thank the folks who made this possible, starting with the beloved former Monterey Peninsula College instructor, Homer Bosserman. Homer, please give the crowd a wave and allow us to applaud you for your extremely generous gifts in support of MPC athletics. Hello, Homer. Welcome. I'd also like to recognize the Rotary Club of Carmel by the Sea, who awarded a substantial grant toward the project. And last, but certainly not least, I'm honored today to recognize the Monterey Peninsula Foundation, who invested more than $500,000 into this beautiful community facility. The Foundation's CEO and Tournament Director, Mr. Steve John, asked me to share a few words. The Monterey Peninsula Foundation, the host of the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am and Pure Insurance Championship Impacting First Tee, is very proud to partner with the college to bring this wonderful community resource to fruition. We join everyone here today in acknowledging the remarkable accomplishments of coaches Pappas and Phillips and their legacies, dedicated service to MPC and its students. So thanks to the foundation. Next, it's my pleasure to ask our board chair, Trustee Rosalind Green, to share some words regarding the dedication of our newly renovated field.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. I am so honored to participate in this dedication ceremony and speak on behalf of the Monterey Peninsula College District Board of Trustees. As the proud parent of two MPC Lobo football players, one who was a part of the 2006 championship team, and the other who is now playing at the next level in Liberty, Missouri. It is my great pleasure to acknowledge and give a shout out to all of the parents in the stand for all of the hard work that you have done in raising a student athlete, as well as all of our Lobo fans, friends, and family members. In addition, it is my honor to recognize the alumni student athletes who are here with us on the field today that have come from near and far to participate in the dedication of MPC's athletic stadium. Please, let's give them all a round of applause. In 2020, the MPC Board of Trustees was approached by a number of community members. Some of them are joining us here today about naming MPC Stadium after two longtime coaches, Chris Pappas Sr. and Luke Phillips. We were, of course, well aware of their incredible careers as coaches here at MPC, and yet we were still amazed by the number of folks who came far and wide to our board meetings and wrote letters telling us how much these two gentlemen had impacted their lives. Story after heartwarming story reiterated what remarkable, compassionate, and inspirational people they were. Their careers were not just about coaching a sport, but about coaching human beings. And so by unanimous vote, the MPC Board of Trustees chose to officially honor the legacies of these two great men by naming MPC's athletic stadium the Pappas Phillips Community Stadium. And now, it is my distinct pleasure to invite a representative from each family to share some words with you all. So at this time, let's give it up for Chris Pappas Jr. and Sam Phillips.
Thank you. I'd like to just tell you that both men would be so proud of this moment. As far as my dad was concerned, he loved MPC, as well as Luke. They both loved being here and never wanted to leave, and so they didn't. The one thing I would like to mention is for my family, I'd like to recognize my mother, my dad's wife of 69 years, Peggy Pappas, who is sitting down at the end of this stadium there. I'd also like to thank the group of supporters standing behind me. Most of those people realize the contributions my mom made to the MPC football program from 1963 to 1996. In the beginning, she mended jerseys, washed jerseys, put decals on and helmets, but the most important thing she did over all 33 years, is she had a training table for each team as they were going through double sessions, 2 practices a day. She fed the teams for several years here at MPC. In addition, she continued this by having the coaches at our home, the family home, after almost every home game, feeding them a meal also. We wouldn't be standing here today without my mom's contribution to our family and to MPC. So my family looks up, and we're very fortunate to think of Pappas as both my mom and my father. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. Good afternoon. My name's Sam Phillips. I am one of the grandsons of Luke Phillips. It is an honor to speak on behalf of my grandfather. I'd like to start by thanking some of the people who helped this stadium in the renaming dedication. First, Chris Pappas and the Pappas family, my grandma Victoria, and the Phillips family and all their support. Rich Montori, Ron Johnson, Dr. Rick Karzarian, Herm Edwards, Mayor Dan Albert, past board members Rick Johnson and Marilyn Gustafson, current board members Green, Downey, Steck, and Anderson, thank you. They all voted unanimously for this good cause. Also, past President David Martin, Vice President Steve Hagler, Larry Walker, Becky Michaels, and Athletic Director Wendy Bates. thank you all, and thank you all for your support of my grandfather and Chris Pappas. After the passing of my grandfather in 2019, Chris Jr. approached us about making a joint effort to name the stadium after both his father and my grandfather. Though the two men could stand on their own merits, if you know the history of them together, it was an easy decision to join forces. Chris and Luke met at San Jose State University, where they began their coaching careers, eventually making their way here to the college. They worked together, coached together, and became lifelong best friends. Each were employees here at MPC for over 40 years and remained fixtures here after their retirement, serving on boards and helping with athletics up until they passed. Even into their 80s and 90s, they would still come to the gym, shuffling in from the parking lot and perceived to work out. I would get calls from Coach Dan Phillips laughing, saying, "These guys don't work out, but they're having a good time." My Grandpa Luke would feel proud and humbled by today's honor, especially to be sharing it with his friends and all of you players. Instead of recognizing his achievements and accolades, we remember his greatest contribution to MPC and the community. As others have stated, he was compassionate and inspirational. Compassionate because he could relate firsthand to life's difficulties. Having grown up during Great Depression and raised on the foster care system, the hardship, he would say, it's just a speed bump. Inspirational because he was determined to make something of his life. He refused to be a victim. He saw the world through rose-colored lenses and carried that optimism with him throughout his life. He knew it wasn't about the cards he was dealt, but how he played them. He was a coach on and off the field, both publicly and privately, and while he was teaching the valued lessons of life to thousands of students, athletes, he was also learning those same lessons alongside them. He lived his belief that if you don't like how it started, you can change how it ends. I remember at a time that Chris pulled me aside as a young man and said, "Sam, your grandfather may have not been the best or the perfect father, but I've never met or seen in action a better grandfather." And that was true for me. He brought people together with his humor and optimism, but he kept people together with his compassion and understanding. He was the glue. In closing, I want to thank all of you for coming out in support of Chris and Luke and our families. I want to encourage you to keep coming out to support the student athletes and the college. And I want to welcome you to the Pappas and Phillips Community Stadium. Thank you.
Well, again, thank you all for being here today and helping us celebrate the naming of our newly renovated Pappas Phillips Community Stadium. Let the game continue.